Diane from whimsygale.com. The other day I made a turkey, and now I have taken off all the turkey meat from the turkey bones, and I thought I'd make some turkey stock so I can make some turkey soup tomorrow. So this is a really simple process. All you have to do is put your bones in a soup pot. I had to break the turkey carcass up a little bit so it fits better in the pot. And you just, use all the bones, and you can use the skin you have left over and the little bits of meat that are not appetizing to eat straight off. So you put it in your pot. Then I chopped up just into quarters a large onion. Just throw that in there. And I've got about 4 medium carrots, just chopped up into big chunks. All these vegetables are going to be discarded, so you just want to get the flavor in there. So it really doesn't matter how you chop them. If you leave them big, it's easier to pull out of there. And I've got some fresh parsley. I'm going to throw some of that in there. I don't know if I need all that. Let's see what it looks like. Throw that in there. Maybe a little more. A little more. And then I've got some celery. I just cut off the top of the celery. I don't know what you call this, the whole bunch. I just cut the tops off because the celery leaves are really flavorful in the soup. So I'm just going to use the tops of all the pieces, and I'm going to use this in the soup tomorrow. So just throw that in there. It's quite a bit. It'll shrink up a little bit once it starts to heat up. Then the spices, I'm just going to throw in a piece of rosemary. I've got a rosemary plant in my sunroom. I just cut a stalk off there and throw that in there. And I've got a little bit of sage. I'll probably use about, I never measure this stuff here, just sort of guess it, about a teaspoon of sage. And I've got thyme leaves, about a teaspoon of that. You can always add more seasoning to your soup when you make your soup the next day, how you like it. And I'm going to throw a couple bay leaves in there. And a little bit of salt and pepper. And there you go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill this with water to about 1 inch above all the vegetables and turkey bones. And I'm going to put this on the stove. And I'm going to bring it up to a boil, and just as soon as it hits the boiling point, I'm going to turn it down to simmer and cover it for about, I'd say, I'm not going to cover it. I'm going to simmer uncovered for about 3 or 4 hours, and we'll go from there. So I'm just going to fill this up. Cold water to start. After it heats up, the vegetables will shrink down a little bit, and it'll fit better. So just turn that on high. I'm going to keep an eye on this. When it boils, I'm going to turn it down to simmer. Okay, so we're coming to a boil here right now. We don't want it to boil too long because that causes a cloudy stock. So I'm going to turn this down to a simmer. And especially because my pot's so full, I could have used a bigger pot, but my next biggest one up's too big, so I'm just have to do with this one. I don't want it to boil over either, so that's another good reason to turn it down. So I'm putting it on just a little bit higher than low, just to keep that at a nice simmer. And we're going to simmer for about 4 hours. And the only other thing that I need to tell you about while this is simmering is that pretty soon this is probably going to create some kind of foamy gunk on top. You got to keep an eye on that, because as soon as you start getting that gunk or scum or whatever you want to call it on top, you really got to skim it off and get rid of it, because that will also make your stock cloudy. So I'm going to stand here for a while and make sure that I get all of the, I'm calling it gunk, that comes to the top. When it happens, I'll show it to you, but it probably in a few minutes we'll get some. Okay, I'm back. It's been about 4 hours now, so I'm going to take care of the turkey stock. All of the bones and vegetable chunks have to come out, so I'm just going to scoop them out into a bowl. Get all the chunks out. And then I'm going to strain the broth through the mesh sieve here. Get all the other little chunks out. Okay, smells so good. The whole house smells like a turkey dinner. Okay, so I'm just going to put this right through the mesh sieve. Then I get out all the big chunks, the little chunks. go. So there we have it. Some nice turkey broth to make some soup. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cool this down really quick. I'm going to put some ice in the sink. I'm just going to sit on the ice and cool it down enough so that I can put it in the fridge. And I'll put a probably saran wrap over it to cover it and get it all cooled down. And as it cools in the fridge, probably the fat will separate. It will come up to the top and harden on the top. And tomorrow when I go to make soup, I can just skim that fat off there and it'll be all ready to make soup.